All right, I'll say, how are you all this evening of your time as you create time to exist? Thank you very much. We begin this interaction this evening of your time with the entitlement Soulmates. The idea being that, in general, within your society, the idea of soulmates does, in that sense, pertain to one-on-one relationships. And although, in that sense, we will cover that aspect of soulmates, allow us now to broaden, if you will, that definition a bit. You may understand in that way that in that you create your own reality, and in that sense, create others who in that sense then co-create a reality with you, that you do in that way have many soulmates. To be very specific in that way, in any given moment in which you are creating your reality, those that you do attract or draw into that immediate perception of your reality is for that given moment your soulmate. For they are in that way contributing to your creation, co-creating your existence with you, and again in that sense being a second to second soulmate. So there is that idea that anybody in that sense who you attract, whether you see them a lot or whether you see them simply one time, in that sense, the one time you see them, they are for that moment a soulmate, sharing in that sense this reality with you in some way. There is also in that way, in that you do create your own reality as an individual, you do in general congregate others around you. In that sense, in your vernacular language, hang out with other individuals. And that, in a sense, may be referred to loosely as a soul family. These individuals in general can be defined in that way as those individuals with which you have a, shall we say, higher affinity in that way. The individuals that tend to hang around, stick around in the course of your life, your parents, your best friends, as you say, these people in general are members of a soul family. Now, what this means is that as you are reincarnational beings, when in that sense a life ends, you then colloquially speaking, incarnate to another life. Soul families have a tendency, shall we say, to stick together, to come together life after life. Very often transposing the relationships, as we have called it, dancing around each other in various ways, pirouetting around each other in various relationships, being in that sense of service to each other in varying ways. And this does have a tendency to change from lifetime to lifetime. There is, in that way, sometimes the idea that individuals will create whereby their mate, in the way that you define that term, will be consistent from life to life. But this is far more rare in that sense than you might imagine. This does not in any way make it less romantic a notion, however, and understand that when you do share those life in that particular relationship with those individuals, that is an expression of who you are at that timing, and therefore an expression of part of your totality, your wholeness as a higher self. But again, in general, this role or relationship will change. And you will not usually, again, there are exceptions, anything that you can imagine is in existence or you could not imagine it. But in general, you will, colloquially speaking, take turns playing various parts so that you can explore different aspects of each other and impose within any given life that forgetfulness to allow you to play that part anew. For if you did not impose a forgetfulness upon yourself, the idea of discovering things as anew would not be possible. You would already know it all. Oh, there they come again from that other life, and it would not be a new relationship. But you have very creatively used the tool of forgetfulness to allow you to discover one another over and over again. This is a very, very joyous reunion in that way. And when you do remember each other, you are using that term in a slightly different way, literally remembering. In other words, you are all members of the same soul family. And upon recognizing that affinity, you are remembering yourself into, shall we say, an aggregate, a conglomerate, a group of souls, again, a soul family. There is, however, the way you create your reality, exclusive relationships you do label mates. However, from our perspective, there is some misunderstanding in the idea of what you label a soulmate and the function of a soulmate. For very often in your society, what you would consider your soulmate to be will be that person who, when I meet, my life will be complete. All right. There is, in that sense, nothing wrong with that idea. However, it has a built-in paradox. So, although some of you may have heard this before, listen with new ears. The idea being, and the paradox being, that when you do assume that in order to be complete, you must have another person in your life, or for that matter, anything external. Again, the idea being that you are not complete right now, since you can only experience a reality you are the vibration of, you can only attract individuals to yourself who will reflect back to you that feeling of incompleteness. Therefore, if you can simply recognize you are already 100% complete at any given moment in your reality, and then allow yourself from that perspective to attract what you will, because you are now that vibration of being 100% whole, you can only attract reflections of that idea. So simply, therefore, we suggest whenever you do feel you need someone, or for that matter, something, simply recognize you already contain it all. So you may, in fact, desire it. You may, in fact, prefer it, but you do not need it to make you complete. You are already a 100% kit, a 100% package, coming along with all, in that sense, the tools, all the facilities, and will attract all the individuals from what you label your immediate soul family and others who will, shall we say, drop in. And in that way, by proceeding and acting as though you are already complete, which you are, even if you create the scenario that you are not, you are a whole being creating that scenario. So if you would like, in that sense, what you label a satisfying relationship, a soulmate, allow them to share in that wholeness. Share in that way in their wholeness. Do not need each other to make each other complete. For again, that will always put you at the vibration of feeling incomplete. And you will create whatever reflections in your reality to allow you to see that you are creating your reality feeling incomplete. Now, this is all well and good, for it always allows you in any given moment to decide you do not prefer it. There are many ways to decide in your reality what it is that you prefer. We suggest being a bit upfront about it. Although we do see the tendency in your society for individuals to determine their preference by giving themselves so many examples of that which they do not prefer. That way they can, by, as you say, the process of elimination, finally get down to what they do. But that again is also an approach, a definition, which you do not have to empirically have. So do realize you are right now 100% complete whole beings. Act that way. You will see that those you attract will reflect that back to you. But what you will also see is that those individuals with whom you are currently in contact with will seem to change. This is very easily, from our perspective, explained. You all exist on many, many levels right now, simultaneously. The way you create your own reality, you do impose, shall we say, the element that you are only experiencing this one and the others are not a part of you. However, they still are. It is still all simultaneous and all right now. Not from your perspective of being within a time continuum, however, and this is your exploration. But you do have, again, in any given moment, what it is you need. When you are being a particular vibration, the individuals round and about you that you interact with can only interact with that corresponding level of their being. Therefore, again, what you put out is what you get back. But they also exist on many levels. So therefore, when you change the level that you are willing to exist upon, when, for instance, in this situation, will now consider yourself a 100% whole being, you will be then interacting with that level of them. And that is why mechanically they seem to change, because they already also, as you do, exist on these levels. So therefore you are allowing yourself to interact with them on a new level. And that seems in your outer reality that they have changed. They have not. You have. And that has given you the opportunity to interact with that more preferable portion of them. So therefore, as you will begin in any given moment to do what it is that excites you with integrity, to recognize that nothing is accidental, it is all your creation, and it is but your willingness to see any creation for what it is bringing you rather than an interruption. If you will act on the opportunities that come your way, recognizing that nothing is an accident. If you will glean for but a moment on top of all this, that the present is not experientially a result of the past, and therefore you can create the present you prefer right now, because right now is a new moment, a total recreation. You will then become a vibration of what we have labeled fourth density state of awareness. Fourth dimension, whatever you will call it, it is unimportant. The idea is that you will exist right now on that level. And you will see in other individuals where they also exist on that level. Now, from time to time, individuals choose not to, shall we say, outwardly recognize that they do exist on a particular level. Those will be the individuals, when not having that corresponding portion or level to your changing level, that will seem to disappear from your reality. For again, you can only experience a reality you are the vibration of. So in that way, if individuals seem to disappear as you change, that is all well and good. You will not, in that sense, miss them, for they are not part of the exploration you are choosing. So you will either, as you change yourself in relationship to your soulmates, whether it be second by second, part of your soul family, or your soul mate, you will always, when changing yourself, see the corresponding change in them, or you will go your own merry way. Everyone is always served, and everything in that sense is always perfect. If you will just allow yourself to see the perfection in it. If you will just allow yourself in any given situation to glean rather than push it away and assume it doesn't belong there. Therefore, loosely speaking, because I am interacting with your society on, shall we say, colloquially speaking, some level, we are all part of the same soul family. And in my joy for your allowance to co-create a reality with me, no matter how short or how long, I ask you now, how may I be of service to you? Sharing.
Yes, Bashar.
Ace.
How does the concept of soulmates relate or differ to the concept of parallel lives?
We are not sure in that sense what you are asking. The soulmates of which we speak are within the contemporary lifetime you are living right now. What we are speaking of has little to do in that way with parallel realities, other than when an individual, again, after you have changed to a new level, does not contain that level, they, seeming to disappear, may actually be on a different parallel earth. Is that what you are asking, however?
Not really. Can't a person have a parallel life within the same lifetime?
Yes, but by definition of your mode of focus, the you consider yourself to be, this gets a bit sketchy, will not know of it. You will seem to be in this world. Even if you spin off other worlds to you, it will be a continuum. So it will seem like the same world. So you may then say it is.
So you couldn't have two opposite aspects of yourself living in the same time and same place meet and can be considered soulmates?
Oh, yes, you could. That in that sense is a different question. In the same reality. You are constantly in that way meeting your soul family. And yourself, both figuratively and literally. For as we have said, you are a soul who has an oversoul, or shall I say, is really. There is no separation, but you understand. You are an oversoul, and that oversoul is the totality of all the lives you have been. Again, they are all simultaneous and all right now. And not only do you reincarnate, which is only accurate again along a timeline, but you also, shall we say, pre-incarnate, which may mean into your past, but also your oversoul from time to time, if that is the exploration you are embarking upon within a given lifetime, will have more than one individual as a contemporary in the same society. This we have labeled counterpart.
Counterpart?
Yes. The idea being you are the same oversoul, different bodies to allow you to have different experiences in the same time period, and then, colloquially speaking, merge them back to the same oversoul.
Would those counterparts be naturally drawn towards each other?
Not always. Not always at all. For if the exploration is that different enough to don a new body, again, colloquially speaking, you may not be the vibration to interact with them within a given life. However, sometimes that does occur. It simply depends on the nature of the exploration. Does that help?
Perfectly.
Oh, thank you very much.